Hey, it's Chef Brandy here, and today we are going to be celebrating 5 years of Plant Powered Metro New York by going back to our roots. Now, I couldn't just pick one root to create this recipe, so for this lunchtime special, we're going to be bringing carrots and ginger into the recipe. I love how these two ingredients play together. The carrot gives us a nice earthy sweetness. The ginger gives us a nice spicy bite. And together they create a really delicious combination. Now, this is a lunchtime series, and so the dish that we're going to make is actually something that connects me to my roots as an adult when we're thinking about lunchtime specials. So I don't know about you, but I love a Japanese lunch special. And the first company I ever worked for was a Japanese printing company, crazy enough, right? And I remember getting introduced to these really simple salads that always came with this delicious carrots and ginger dressing. And so today I'm going to show you a quick and easy way to make a no oil, plant-based friendly version of this really great way to add some roots to your plate. All right, so the ingredients that we're going to be using in this recipe are, of course, carrots, ginger. We're going to add in an onion, some dates for the sweetness, tamari. There is some aquafaba, which is chickpea juice if you're not aware of what that is, and some rice vinegar. These flavors all come together to create this really great dish. And what's wonderful about this recipe is literally you just throw everything into the blender and then you end up with this end product that's really nice. So I'm just going to start by taking the what are these things called, the pits out of these dates. Now, dates in this recipe are going to add a sweetness. Traditionally you would add something like a honey or some type of brown sugar, but we're not going to add that in. Instead, we're going to use the date because that's going to give us some fiber, but we're also going to get our good old sweetness. Now, ginger and carrots are two ingredients that you can peel with a spoon. And so I want to use this opportunity to show us how we can literally just take and peel with a spoon instead of pulling out a peeler and all of that good stuff. Now, especially, I know a lot of times we're using ginger, which is like a great root for lots of things, inflammation, immunity building, any type of morning sickness or nausea. You can totally benefit from having some ginger tea. I know a lot of times growing up, anytime that I was sick, somebody would give me some ginger ale, and I think that that was because we all know the powers of ginger as it relates to bringing us some comfort. Ginger also adds, like I was saying earlier, like a nice spiciness to a dish. Now, that same spoon that I use to peel my ginger with, also using to peel this carrot, because why pull out unnecessarily fancy tools in the middle of the day? Like maybe you pulled out for dinner, but for lunch, let's just kind of stick with the simplest ones ever. So we're gonna do that. I'm also probably gonna just take the top off with a spoon too. Yeah, look at that. Look at the power of a spoon, the simplicity of it with this. And I'm going to break this because we're going to throw it into the blender. So no need to pull out a knife. So yeah, there we go. We're going to take this. It's going to take two. They're a little smaller. If you had a larger carrot, you would maybe just use one. But these are nice little thin ones that we're just going to break up and then get into the blender. Now, break this one in half and then drop this literally into the blender. Put my blender over right here. So we're going to drop in the carrots, ginger. We're going to put our tamari in, which is a nice little addition of salt. We're going to add in the aquafaba, which in this recipe replaces the oil. Like I was saying, aquafaba is the juice from chickpeas. And we're going to add in rice vinegar, which gives us a nice sweetness, a little bit of a tang, and just that light, fresh Asian flavor that we're used to. Also going to add in these dates, and we're going to add in an onion. Drop it in. I'm going to take it over to the blender and come back and show you what it looks like. Okay, so now that we've finished blending, here is the dressing. Now, like I said before, this is generally served over like a really simple salad. So oftentimes when we get this dressing, it is literally just a little bit of like iceberg lettuce or something like that. Not much else inside of the container with the dressing. Now, one of the things that I shared earlier was that my first job was with a Japanese printing company, and we ate a lot of really good Japanese food. I was introduced to Japanese culture through food with this company and multiple times. And one of the places that we went to that I really, really enjoyed introduced me to two things that to this day I love. One is the dressing, served on top of this simple bed of just raw shredded cabbage. So that's what I'm doing right now, shredding this cabbage up so that we can see how you can have a simple salad for lunch, dinner, breakfast, even if that's what you're into. Just by taking one ingredient, which is cabbage, cutting it thinly, putting it into a bowl, and then serving it with that dressing that we used those two roots to make. Now, I did mention two dishes. And the other dish that I really liked was Japanese curry. Like we being me and coworkers would literally go to this restaurant. They had the best Japanese curry. And they would serve, like I said, this delicious dressing over a bed of raw shredded cabbage. So we are going to finish this lunchtime special with the process of simply adding in this shredded cabbage, and covering it with this really delicious dressing. There you have it. Just by taking these two simple roots, carrots and ginger, we can take the sweetness from one, the spiciness from the other, and bring them together for a power-packed dressing that can go on anything. Now, this salad is simple. We're talking about just cabbage and this dressing. And when you try this, you'll see that you don't need anything else. But if you have some leftover dressing, which I'm sure you may, feel free to put this on any salad of your desire. Thank you for joining us for this lunchtime series as we celebrate 5 years plant-powered Metro New York and help you to ingest more roots.